This is Bama's Ball Radio on the Double Take Broadcast Network. I am your host, Step Lewis. Stevan could not join me for this interview, and I know he'd be upset because in the skybox with us from Lake Worth, Florida, is our man, Star Jackson. What's going on, Star?
I'm doing good, man. I'm all right.
Everything good for you?
Yes, sir.
Coming up on Time to Report. When you going to be in town?
June 1st.
June 1st. So you're joining the first spring crew. Man, I caught up with you at the All-Star basketball game during 8A week. It's finally upon you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling, the same way I felt, going in, to high school. I don't want to, make it such a big, it's a big difference. But I'm just gonna come at it the same way and just, work hard and just do the things I do.
No doubt. You also were the 4A, 5A, 6A player of the South Florida Sun Centennial Offensive Player of the Year. Talk about your high school career and some of the things that that kind of happened to get you on this level.
Just the people I had around me, Coach Lowe and Jay Sider, and just the coaches I had around me that believed in me, that I can do what I've done, and just the support of my school and support my teammates, Brad and Roosevelt, and just being able to go over obstacles, and starting off rough as a freshman. He threw me in the fire and he played me, and going against schools like Clovis State, just schools that are ranked in the nation. It was really hard. It was a learning experience. Everybody has to go through it, and it's just gonna be the same way. When I get to college, I just hope it'd be a lot faster.
Right.
Working hard.
Are they giving you the types of things that they want you to work on before you get to school?
Yeah, I've been. They give you workout books, things like that, and talk to coaches. And they look at your film and say, the things you need to work on individually. But most of everything's gonna be hit hard. When you get there, you really can't do as much because the coaches aren't watching and they can't constantly be on you. So now it's about to get to that time where it's time to work.
No doubt. What are some of the attributes that you bring to the table that made you such a high profile prospect?
Just probably in situations. Some people you can't react in certain situations. It's just a whole part of studying film and breaking down film and understanding what's going on the field, and you be able to play chess and move things around.
Good deal. Now, you had an opportunity to play in the U.S. Army All-American game, and just following some of the reports that were going on while you were down there, you seemed like you were doing pretty well. Can you talk about some of the drills and some of the things that you were doing that brought some attention out there?
It's probably football. You know what I'm saying? Just in the eyes of the person, that's writing it on a piece of paper, the scout or whoever it is. I'm not a really big, fan of the whole rivals and the whole, of the whole scouting thing and all that kind of stuff. But just going out there and competing, with top-notch guys like Terrell Pryor and just all these guys who are number one and number two and all that kind of stuff. Just going out there and competing and then just doing feet work drills and just mechanics and things you do at home.
So is it like when you go up against these guys, the ones that you see or hear about, and I know it's hard to, as much coverage as recruiting gets these days, it's kind of hard to ignore, who's this and who's that. Was it fun just being able to go against some of the guys that they considered that were the best?
Yeah, it's real fun. It's real fun to just compete. I like to compete. I want to show people that it's not fake. The things you hear is true. So I just want to go out there and compete. With the so-called best. So I could be mentioned as the best. So that's how I wanted to be in people's eyes.
Good deal. Seemed like you did a pretty good. You ended up strong on that end. Now, some of the attributes that you have, I guess, from what I've seen on film, pretty good pocket presence. Can you talk about what are your attributes as far as size and speed and all that good stuff?
I feel I got pretty good feet, but size-wise, 6'3", I need to put on some weight and stuff like that. That'll happen.
Right, no doubt.
Going in college, so that's something that comes, with the transition of coming to college. They're gonna bulk me up, and I'm gonna get faster. And then just you can't never settle. You just always have to strive to be the best. And that's what I'm gonna continue to do.
For sure. talked to several of you guys, and obviously you guys have been keeping up with each other, keeping in touch with each other. Who are some of the guys that you get a chance to talk with, and who are some of the guys you're building a good
No,
rapport
I stay
with?
in touch with most of everyone. You know, just stay in touch with Ty Love, Chris Jordan, B.J. Scott, Julio. It's just the whole deal. You know, we all try to stay in contact. You know, Mark Ingram, me and him got a nice little close relationship. So we all stay in contact. You know, we all counting down the days till we actually going to be there, blood, sweat, and tears every day.
No doubt, no doubt. And looking at the fact, and obviously since you're not a big rivals guy, I know you do know that this is the number one recruiting class in the nation.
hmm
So, what are some of the things that you see for this class going forward?
Just the statement I meant, about rivals, just I don't really pay attention to it, but it helps a lot. Rivals helps you a lot. It gives you exposure and things like that. I appreciate that. But just being the number one recruiting class just means we got expectations coming in. We have to come in and we have to compete. We got to make an effect. We got to either get on that field and make an effect, or make effect in practice to push the starting guy. So we just got to go out there and we just got to play ball and get on that field and win games.
Right. And I know you made the statement. As a matter of fact, I've seen this on some Bama fans' pages where, a quote by you that you just want to make it hard on them to red shirt you.
hmm
You still standing by that? Still your number one goal?
My goal is to come in and compete. And if I'm making it tough for the coach to come in and making the coach say, damn, I don't want to redshirt this kid, but it's good for you. And that's how I accomplished something. I put it in the mind that I'm actually making strides to play, to be on the field, and that's what it's about. It's about being on that field and winning ball games.
Right. Now, being in that area, obviously I mentioned earlier being 4A, 5A, 6A Player of the Year. What kind of schools did you guys have in that area? I mean, is that a pretty loaded area as far as high schools go?
Oh yeah, we're I'm in Florida, so it, it's football everywhere. I mean, I'm going every week. We're going against guys who they got several guys on their team going to Division 1. So there's maybe there's probably probably two teams down here. Cupcake, but other than that, it's solid down here. So to come out of here, at the quarterback, you don't really hear a lot of Florida quarterbacks coming out these days. It's all California and all that kind of other places. But if you come out of here, 6A, 5A, player of the year as a quarterback, then you're doing something.
Good deal. Good deal. We're talking with Star Jackson, future quarterback at the University of Alabama. Who was it that caught your eye when you went to university? Who got your attention and said, or what was it that got your attention and said, "Hey, I wouldn't mind, being on board here"?
It was several things. It's just Coach Nick Saban, and at the time Applewhite was there, and he just it wasn't just him. He just opened my eyes, to see the people that are there, and just and Coach Bobby, who just came over there with Coach Williams. He's a big deal for me, and just the fans. The fans are amazing. The fans, just care about, they want to see you win, and that's what you need as fans. You don't need that whole sugarcoat everything. You just want people to see you win, and that's the goal.
Right, right. Now, I know when Coach Applewhite left, it kind of made you think about a few things. After you got a chance to talk to Coach McElwain, was that a big difference for you?
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference. Yeah, I came to the school and we discussed. I wanted to. He was picking my brain. I was picking his brain. We just wanted to discuss things that are going on. What he wants to do in an offense, and he seems to be very open to whatever fit the quarterback. So that's the deal, and that's what I'm trying. That's what I need to do. Get that kind of relationship with.
No doubt. What do you see about him that kind of stands out to you? I don't know if you've got a chance to get into the playbook or anything, but what are some? Does he fit kind of like a lot of what you like to do?
Yeah, he's a intelligent. He's very football intelligent. So he knows that you can't set an offense and make the quarterback do it. You gotta play your offense, to the quarterback ability. So that's what I was looking for in an offensive coordinator, and we lucky that we got it. And Nick's gonna get the best guy, so that's what we did.
Good deal. We're talking with Star Jackson, Lake Worth, Florida. Big time quarterback recruit headed to the University of Alabama. Man, we look forward to seeing you in uniform. That you already know what number you're gonna be wearing.
2.
You busting the deuce, huh?
Yes, sir.
You know how big that is, don't you?
It's all right. I'm gonna live up to it.
There you go. There you go. We appreciate you coming on board, my man, and look forward to watching you play and watching you compete and all that good stuff. And hopefully you guys can realize what Bama fans see as one of the greatest class that's come to Alabama.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.